Hi everybody, welcome to this Pro and Expert Division general playthrough with various wind angles for the Spring Major 2023. Please give me a thumb up and make sure you're subscribed as well. Help me get to 20,000 subs, I'm not far away. Brand new course here, Sierra Plateau, set in Mexico. I'm going to show you all 9 holes with some suggestions of routes that you may want to take. Bear in mind there are plenty of other routes available, and it all depends what wind angles you've got, what balls you're using, and what clubs you have as well. So these will give you an idea of routes, but you will need to tweak the adjustments as the tournament goes on. Plenty of other content available as well for the Spring Major. Make sure you keep checking the channel. Here we go. There's a couple of routes available on this par 4, but I like to play on the left-hand side as the approach is a little bit shorter and easier. Going with 4.5 topspin and 1 bar side spin to the left. The fairways are quite narrow here, so accuracy is key. Going with a Titan though, because any lower power ball you may be not able to play with a short iron, and that's what I want to do on this par 4. If you want to go right side, you're playing with a long iron instead, but obviously it's your choice which side you want to go, and the wind angle may sway your decision either way as well. Max plus 10 is the adjustment here, and then we're going to drive nicely down the fairway. Like I said, you need to get a decent distance though to be in a range for the thorn. Any headwind here, you're going to play the second shot with the grizzly most likely near to minimum distance. As you can see here, I've got a few rings away from max. I've got a fairly hefty crosswind here, almost level crosswind, but I'm going with a no spin approach. Ball guide a little bit short of the cut because there is a little hint of tailwind. And here I'm playing true club distance, and I would estimate this to be around 40% elevation. Even in headwind and straight tailwind, it will need a fair amount of elevation due to the drop here, so I'd kind of play this between 20 and 40% elevation, depending what wind angle you've got, of course. But a very good chance for an eagle. If you can get into short iron range, then that's the way to go. In the end here, we're dropping it right at the pin. Now the best chance for the hole-in-one we're going to look at in a minute, but the general safe birdie is going to be bouncing off this platform on the right. You're going to need backspin and left spin. I don't take this shot in the end, but I'm just showing you where you are with the club, near max distance with the grizzly, and you could play min with a lower power ball sniper in headwind. But for the best chance at the hole-in-one, it's going to be a rough bump either side of this big tree, which is absolutely dead in line with the pin from the tee here. So I'm adding just around 2 backspin, but you will need 4 bars of side spin to the right here, unless you want to play with curl with a side spin 3 ball. As you can see, there's not a lot of room from the base of the tree to the ball guide, so this is not for the faint-hearted. But as a guide here, mid plus 0 is the adjustment I make here. Once again, you don't have to have a precision ball, but they will help if you want to be really aggressive here, especially with that tree trunk in the way. But the best chance for the hole-in-one, like I say, is the rough bump. On this par 5, you've got 2 options here. I'm going to show you one playing a bit more aggressively to the middle patches of fairway with the Apocalypse. We're going with 4.5 topspin and 3 left spin. Otherwise, you can play down the fairway on the right that I'm showing you there, and that will give you a clear approach, either bouncing over the bunker with the Goliath most likely, or you play safely to the green from the far right side with a wood club. In a heavy tailwind, you could actually play this shot with the rock as well, pushing up and going with the curl, and you don't have to have a massively high level of APOC here. You could make this shot actually with APOC 4 as I'm doing here, maybe even APOC 3 as well in certain wind angles. Max plus 10, plenty of left curl there, and we're rolling down the fairway. Careful not to get a glitch roll here, and we're getting to a drive distance of around 370 yards. In headwind, we'd play the next shot with the grizzly at min distance, but in tailwind, we can actually bounce in between the bunker and the rough and go for an albatross this way, which I think is, even though it has a bit more elevation to deal with, you're covering less distance, and it will be, I think, a better drop rate than playing out down the long fairway on the right hand side. But again, the choice is yours, and it depends what wind angle you've got. As an estimate here, I generally play this one max plus 25, maybe a little bit more in crosswind. If you've got wind from left to right, you will of course adjust down into the bunker. So you need to keep that in mind as well when you're dialing in your shots. We just missed this one unfortunately, but it gives you an idea of the routes that you might want to take on this par 5. I reckon there's a decent chance out of all the par 5s on this course, this is going to be the best chance for an albatross in my opinion. This par 3 is very difficult due to the downhill drop from the fairways to the green. You can play on the left side here as I'm doing here. Just to show you, you would need a bit of top spin, bit of left spin, but again look at that large second bounce, and from this fairway pad it's no easier. The other problem is you don't have a full ball guide to the pin, so this is going to be a very, very difficult par 3. The alternatives, of course, you could investigate a very skinny rough bump down by the green, but you're going to need a lot of elevation, or you could use the Guardian and get yourself safely on, bouncing near the green and playing with full backspin. For the grizzly shot here, going with 1 top spin, always 3 left spin, playing on this pad because you've got a bit of angle to make up from the positioning of the tee. Max plus 40 is the adjustment I make in the video, and this is, like I say, a very difficult par 3, going to need considerable dialing in. A lot of people will be making a safe birdie only on this one. Look at that huge downhill drop there. Very tough to dial in indeed. On this hole there's a few trees to contend with, and again you've got multiple routes you can choose from. I favour the left hand fairway, looking at the kind of right hand fork in that, because it will get you closest to the green for your approach. Going here with a little bit less topspin than I originally wanted. I'm going with 4 bars and then 3 right spin. If you go with too much topspin here, there is a glitch roll that you might catch and go into the rough, so I'd rather not do that, and I'd rather get myself just safely on the short grass. Max plus 10. If you don't fancy this shot with the curl, and remember the fairways are a bit narrow, then you can play right hand side. It's a straighter drive, but your approach is a little bit more uphill and it is further away as well. You'll be playing most likely long iron from the right. Drive distance here 350 is going to set up a good shot with the thorn, but look at this one. It's a bit glitchy, so we need to avoid that. The problem with going too long on the drive as well, just worth mentioning here, is we're close to minimum distance, and if you've got tailwind on your second shot, you won't have time or room to adjust. So bear that in mind, don't push the drive too hard. In the end, I'm finding min line. I'm playing rings from min here. 0 elevation in straight tailwind and headwind. Crosswind, I'd probably up that to 5 or 10 just to compensate for the wind effect. But I'm playing here with 1 bar of backspin. It might vary, but you just need to avoid the glitch rolls. Make sure you've got a good landing position where that ball guide isn't glitching around. Very flat green apart from the glitches, and with a decent, accurate drive on the fairway, you've got a good chance, true club distance, 0 elevation, to drop an eagle on this par 4. Quick break to tell you about our Patreon packages, low-cost monthly packages to unlock loads of bonus weekly content if you want to support the free channel here on YouTube. We're going to look at some of the things you can have early access to. Our new club guide series with charts and explanations on what to upgrade and when. I have a terminology video explaining some of the terms I use on my guides here on the YouTube channel, and also shootout sheets for Checkpoint Challenge and Tour Play, amongst other things such as win charts for tournaments. So plenty there if you want to get involved. Lots of little fairway patches on this par 5, and there's going to be a few ways you can play this one. There's also a big fairway down the left, but it is narrow, but worthy of a blast shot if you've got the wind and the equipment to do so. Otherwise, here what I'm looking to do is a double bounce over the rough, 4.5 top spin, 3 left spin, using either extra mile or the Apocalypse or Thor's Hammer, whatever gives you the best distance, top spin and accuracy. Max plus 10 on this one, and the spin amount will vary depending how much tailwind you've got. So this is going to be one where you want to take a token or two just to make sure you're in an optimum position here. A little bit of overpower just to make sure I'm catching the fairway in the right place, and we're hopping over the rough nicely and rolling along the fairway. You could even play with more topspin if you've got it. From there we can play a nice shot with the sniper just to get safely to green from this part of the fairway. If you're short, you could use the previous fairway and bounce over and leave yourself with an end-bringer wedge. And of course there is also a thin strip of rough above the bunker. If you've got a higher power ball, you might be able to play a fairly slim and maybe slightly scary rough bump. For the albatross, that's going to be the aggressive option there, really, if you can't blast down the left-hand side. But going max +0, the backspin, go with definitely 3 left spin. Backspin will vary depending on the wind angle. And I'm going with a ball and a half of curl to the left. And this one really is just an example of a safe shot to green. Not really playing for the albatross, but that is one route that you could use on this par 5. Another tricky par 3, less so than the previous one, but still has its awkward moments. Playing no movement target here. With a kingmaker, it will load you at P3 min line. In this wind angle, I'm playing with 5 backspin and half a bar of left spin. I would really keep with the no move target in any headwind and then just vary the spin. You could see the min line appearing there when I adjust. Min +50 in this one. In tailwind, you're going to have to either go guardian with backspin or you play long iron and go either for a single or double bounce. But get the backspin amount right because this green slopes down towards the back of it. So very tricky par 3 to dial in. Aggressive option on this par 4 if you've got tailwind. It is worthy of a blast, but it is not without risk. 4.5 top spin, 2 left spin with this wind strength and wind angle, stretching out and aiming down the fairway. The issue here, though, you've got water that cuts in from the left into the fairway, and also if you're not on the left half of the fairway here, then you will roll into the rough most likely because it slopes down quite dramatically to the right. Max +10, no push-up, going with full overpower with a slow needle, half a ball of curl to the left. You'll see here we do get to wedge range. We could have added a bit more topspin, but we're very, very close to the edge of the water, just skimming by the wooden edging there, but it leaves a wedge if you fancy a risky, aggressive drive. If you haven't got the wind angle or the desire to play aggressively, you can play a layup on the right, but you've still got that curve to contend with on the fairway, so the left side is also a viable alternative. Go with 6 top spin and 2 left spin, but the thing to watch here is in any headwind you need to make sure you're going to clear the rough and the sand because the wind will check the ball up. Max +10, even though I don't go into overpower with my adjust, I'm adding 2 rings on because my previous attempt was short. So 2 rings of OP, try and hit perfect. Of course, an APOC 5 and above will need less overpower because you've got more distance, clearing the rough nicely and getting down the fairway. And the second shot here, as you can see, is going to play a little bit more downhill than the right side. So it's up to you which route you want to take. The problem here is the bunker is in the way where we want to bounce. So either you drive way further to the left and try a clearer shot there away from the sand, or you go, as I do here, with max backspin and play a kind of draw shot with the thorn. The issue here, even though this shot is downhill anyway, playing max backspin gives you a really high second bounce, so you're going to need loads of elevation. In the video here, I'm playing this one true club distance with 60% elevation. Obviously a standard backspin shot isn't going to need that much if you're just playing with 3 or 4 bars of backspin, but it still will need a fair amount. I would say probably 30%, maybe even more in certain wind angles, but the max one just getting a lip out here. Tough par 4 depending on the wind angle. On to the last par 5 now, and I would like to recommend a kingmaker really if possible. It makes this one a little bit easier. We need to have the big dog or the cataclysm packed, and I'm going with 4 top spin and 3 right spin. In tailwind angles you can do a kind of double bounce with top spin to the piece of fairway at the edge there that you could see in the previous camera view, but in any nastier winds I'm going to lay up here. Mid +10, outer wall curl to the right, and then try and hit perfect, and we want to bounce over the rough and roll down the next piece of fairway. Can push this one a little bit harder, but I don't want to really risk the rough because then you can have a very difficult job reaching the green in 2. 320 yards is fine. You can see P3 max rest is a couple of rings short here, so a high power ball might be good. Power 5 ball, you've definitely got a rough bump attempt between the bunker and the fairway. Otherwise, you're playing safely to green with a little bit of topspin as required, and always 3 bars side spin to the left. Max plus 0 is what I played on this one, I think. And then I go with 1 ball of curl to the left. Little bit close to the hazards here, but we skirt by very nicely. Going to be a very outside chance for the albatross, but that route is primarily a safe eagle on that tricky par 5. Thanks very much for watching this video here on the channel. If it has helped you in any way, please consider sharing it amongst your friends and clanmates in the game. Join us also on Facebook. Head over there, search for BK Golf Clash and join our free group. Loads of members there sharing shots. Free guides are posted, as well as loads of other great Golf Clash resources. So check us out there. You can join in the discussion and also leave feedback on the game in general. Finally, if you wish to help support the channel and keep the content free for everybody, please consider becoming a Patreon member. The link is in the video description down below. Good luck, see you soon, bye for now.